Good evening and salutations, my YNR fans. So, this episode was interesting because you had some really good stuff, you had some really strange stuff, and you had some stuff that was just completely and utterly pointless. Just a wild guess what the utterly and pointless stuff is. We're gonna go with the weird stuff. I think that's what I said. Billy. I There's times where I just don't know if they know what to do with Billy at this point. He got this whole podcast thing going, and the thing about his podcast is that he want to be anonymous. He wants to sit there and be able to tell these stories. If they're personal and they're trash talking people, he doesn't want people to know who he's talking about. But you can't. He feels that he can't sit there and tell these stories without people knowing who he's talking about. So he talks to Lily when Lily gets home, and they talk about Sally and everything like that. Um, which, by the way, she was like, "Hey, when she was with Sally, and Sally wants to then try to make amends, she was like, well, prove it to your actions, not your words. I'm all for giving people a second chance, but we just gotta take time." Of course, when she got home, she was like, "Yeah, no, we ain't gonna be friends." Like, wow, okay. Um, But I mean, to be fair, I don't know exactly the whole story what Sally was doing when she got there. Um, Clearly, she seemed like she was a bit of a hurricane. Anyway, Lily gets home, and Billy's like, "I can't sit there and tell these stories without people knowing who I'm talking about." He started talking about the Ashland thing, and then he started talking about Diane, and he realized he couldn't do it without people knowing what he's talking about. So this man decided to revamp his show, and by coming up with a pseudonym, a fake name, and disguising his voice like Batman. Those are his words, not mine. I sat there and I watched it and I'm like, what in the hell are we doing? So he tries these different modifications, and then he starts talking about power and how power corrupts absolute power or whatever. And I'm like, this Dawn of Justice? Like, what am I watching at this point? And my whole thing is that this doesn't solve anything. The problem, the problem was him telling these stories and people figuring out what these stories are about. So if he thought that changing his name and disguising his voice would solve the problem, then throughout this episode, he accomplished absolutely nothing. Nothing. Let's speak more about the stuff that did not get accomplished today. Wild guess. Yes, that is Mariah and Tess. Listen, I'm pretty sure in their heyday, they did some interesting things. Um, I'm pretty sure. Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure they probably had some great adventures, some great storylines before I started watching the show. Watching this show and seeing them today, I feel like, and I know I'm probably going to piss some people off, and well, I'm a YouTuber. That kind of comes with the territory. With that being said, I feel like they are like the worst part of this show. In so many ways, I feel like every time I watch them and I want to sit and be like, okay, well, what can we really get into with these two characters? And they bring me absolutely nothing. This entire episode, what was it about? They were coming up with a theme for their wedding, trying on a different bunch of outfits, and then they came to the conclusion of they didn't like anything, but they have fun. So I had to sit through a closing, changing clothes montage that went absolutely nowhere. Nowhere. Listen, I'm pretty sure the Test of Mariah fans loved it. That it was funny and goofy and silly and just, a very lighthearted moment. And okay, that's cool. It didn't do anything for me, but if it did stuff for other people, that's fine. I feel like they're literally the worst part of this show so far. I really do. Um, don't get me wrong, Billy did absolutely nothing today, and I felt like he accomplished, well, nothing today. So he's not exactly, he disappointed me too. Let's just put it that way. Like I said, Sally ran into Lily and she wants to sit there and try to make amends. She showed, she's like, we're going to be working somewhat in the same social circles, or we may come across as far as doing business. And she wants it to be, she wants to sit there and be, um, decent, you know, friends even. But after what Sally did, and I'm still trying, here's the thing, I'm looking for that clip of Billy seeing Sally in that ridiculous disguise and calling her out on it. I cannot find that clip yet. I've been looking so hard on YouTube and Instagram, and I cannot find it. And I remember I saw it once and it was hilarious. And this is before I actually started watching the show. Anyway, Lily ain't happy about that. And just probably the other stuff that she's done too. But, the Billy stuff was probably the one that, reminisced the most with her. But she's like, I'm gonna sit there and prove myself. I don't know if she's been trying to go on this apology tour or this make amends tour. I don't know what it is, but I will sit there and give Sally this, and I do not give that woman much credit after what I saw what she did on B&B. There's clearly people that don't like her, and she can just walk around town and say very little and say very nothing to these people. But instead, she's walking up to them and she's like, "Hey, listen, I wronged you. Let's try to find a way to make this right." And I gotta sit there and give her respect for that. I gotta sit there and give her respect for that because it takes a lot of courage to sit there and have somebody to open yourself up like that. I give her I give her credit. I give her credit. Um, And by past stuff, I mean kidnapping someone to sleep with a guy because, well, she was all sorts of crazy. I still miss my video of "Don't Be a Sally." Hmm. The sad part is that it was kind of an off the cuff kind of video, and I don't feel like I can duplicate that, even if I wanted to. Mostly because I was just really disappointed. Um, but yeah, I give her credit for what she's trying to do. Now let's get into this whole Newman craziness. Nick comes over. Well, first Billy calls Nick, and he wants to sit there and try to intervene and talk. And Nick is like, "No, I can't get into it, but I gotta sit there and let this play out." Well, with that being said, Nick talks to Victoria, and Victoria seems like the type of person that's just very, very, very difficult to love. Um, some people are just harder to love than others. Let's just be real. She's very defensive. She doesn't like the fact that Adam came up with his own plan and didn't trust him, and the family really didn't trust her. I mean, well, let me back that up. Victoria's mad that Adam just kind of came in with his own plan and didn't trust her. And neither did the family. So she's not happy about that. She doesn't want pity. I guess that's what happens when you're the daughter of Victor Newman. Um, but Nick just wants to sit there and be there for her. And after just really being like, I don't like what he's doing to you, I'm your big brother kind of, scenario, she does appreciate where he's coming from. Um, Now, on the other side of town, Adam and Ashlyn are in negotiations. And pretty much, there's some terms to be made. And the bottom line is that Adam's like, listen, I'm going to talk to Victoria before I take this deal, more or less. So Adam is worrying when Sally gets in, and he just doesn't know how the deal's going to go. Now, he does later on find out that Ashton took the deal, and so Adam's happy about that, about a half million. I mean, a half a billion. I am so glad that people actually told me in the comment section because in my head I was like, did Adam screw that up by since they're offering a billion, and then Victor was like, yeah, we're gonna give you 5 million. I'm like, 5 million and 5 billion is is kind of two different numbers. Um, but I want to thank everyone for sitting there writing it in the comment section. Um, So Ashton comes in and Nick kind of gives him his 2 cents, and he's like, "Listen," he just gives him his 2 cents. I don't exactly remember what he said, but it just wasn't good, and he just looked like he wants to hurt this man so bad. Nick looked like he wants to just literally just break him with his bare hands, and I feel like he can do it. I really do. But Nick leaves, give Victoria some room, and Ashlyn tries to lay on the charm. I'll give everything up for you. Get the capital if you'll run away with me, and you just gotta sit there and give me your answers. This way, I can set plans in motion. And at first, Victoria does the whole tearing thing, which is probably real. She says yes, we can run away. She hugs him, but you can see the look on her face. This is the look of vengeance and payback. Okay, this is the look of revenge. I should sit there and say. Um, so yeah, Adam got the alert. Since they're saying the plan is to go from from Ashlyn. I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. But yeah. So the plan is to go. Now I did sit there and see the previews, and it looks like Victoria is in a car crash. So I guess we just have to wait and see how that goes. I feel like that's about it. For the most part, this was a good episode. Oh, I forgot. They talked. Mariah and Tess talked about adoption, but that's gonna have to be after the wedding because reasons that I. I think Mariah was just saying that she was too busy doing stuff, and Tess was like she's gonna be on the show. I mean, on the tour or whatever. I'm gonna be honest. Like I said, I feel like they're like the worst part. So I didn't really catch that much of it. I honestly tell you, the truth, after the whole you know close montage, I just kind of clocked out. I was like, all right, I guess we're doing this. I think that's about it for the most part. I did. Here's the thing. This episode was for the most part good. For the most part. Um, but I had a lot of fun doing this review. I always have a lot of fun doing these reviews. It's when it gets super late and I have to wake up super early that I feel like sometimes like my heart may not be in it, and um, if my heart's not in it, it's just like what am I doing? You know. Here's the thing. I'm still going to be doing these reviews every now and then. Probably going to be taking a break from it for a little bit, but I'm still going to be watching it. So if I feel like it's going to be a crazy episode, it's like, all right, I got to sit there and I got to talk about it. I'm definitely going to be doing that. But yeah, I'm not going to stop doing these reviews because it's way too long to sit there and remember these damn names. And I mean, I feel like there's just an imbalance in the universe if I just got to sit there and talk about two victors, not three. And I guess if we're being honest, Newman is my favorite victor. He just is. Um, Kyriakis is kind of funny, so he got in that part. Anyway, I'm probably gonna sit there and make a post about me doing my reviews on this every now and then. Um, just because work is it's been giving me some really early shifts, and when I start to do my reviews at like 9:30 at night, knowing I have to be up at 4, it's not really a good feeling. But every now and then, when I got the time, like tonight, yeah. So yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know your thoughts on the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video.